Tucked away just off London's historic Fleet Street, Temple Church is one of the city's hidden medieval treasures, steeped in mystery, power, and legend. Built in 1185 by the Knights Templar, this church was originally their English headquarters. The Templars were a powerful military order of warrior monks, founded to protect Christian pilgrims travelling to the Holy Land. Their influence spanned across Europe, and Temple Church was one of their most important sites. The most striking feature is the round church, modelled after the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, the believed site of Christ's burial and resurrection. Circular churches were a hallmark of the Templars, symbolising eternity and the divine. Inside, you'll find effigies of medieval knights laid in stone, some of which date back to the 13th century. Though often mistaken for Templars, many of these figures were prominent nobles who supported or were associated with the order. In 1307, the Templars were dramatically suppressed under pressure from the French crown. Their lands, including the Temple Church, were handed over to the rival order of the Knights Hospitaller, and later to the crown. From then on, Temple Church played a more legal and political role. By the 17th century, it had become closely tied to the Inns of Court, the professional associations for barristers. To this day, it serves as the spiritual home of the Inner and Middle Temple, two of the four inns. During World War II, the church was severely damaged by German bombing during the Blitz. The round church was gutted by fire in 1941, but thankfully it was carefully restored after the war and reopened in 1958. Today, Temple Church is still an active place of worship, but also a powerful window into England's medieval past, a place where echoes of the Crusades, royal intrigue, and legal tradition all meet under one roof. To understand Temple Church, you have to understand the men who built it. The Knights Templar. Formed around 1119 after the First Crusade, the Templars started as a small band of knights sworn to protect Christian pilgrims journeying through dangerous routes to Jerusalem. They took monastic vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. But unlike most monks, they were also trained warriors. Over the next 2 centuries, the Templars rose to immense power. They were respected for their discipline in battle and trusted by kings and popes alike. They even developed an early form of banking, allowing pilgrims to deposit money in one country and withdraw it in another. It made travel safer and made the Templars incredibly wealthy. Their network of preceptories, like the one here in London at Temple Church, stretched across Europe and the Holy Land. These weren't just religious outposts. They were command centres, training grounds, and financial hubs. But with power came enemies. By the early 1300s, the political climate had turned against the Templars. King Philip IV of France, heavily in debt to them, pushed for their downfall. In 1307, many Templars were arrested, tortured into confessions, and executed. By 1312, under pressure, the Pope officially dissolved the order. Temple Church was handed over to the Knights Hospitaller, and eventually the Crown. But the legacy of the Templars still lingers in its walls, in the carved effigies on the floor, and in the very name of Temple. While Temple Church began as a Templar stronghold, its story didn't end with their fall. Over the centuries, the church adapted, evolving from a symbol of medieval chivalry into a key part of England's legal and cultural fabric. After the Templars were disbanded, Temple Church passed through several hands before becoming closely tied to the Inns of Court, specifically the Inner and Middle Temple, two of the 4 legal societies that have trained barristers for centuries. To this day, Temple Church serves as their private chapel. Many of England's greatest legal minds have passed through its doors. The church itself is a blend of medieval and Victorian architecture. While the iconic round church is original 12th century Norman stonework, the rectangular chancel was added in the 13th century to accommodate growing numbers. The church was later restored and altered by Sir Christopher Wren, best known as the architect of St. Paul's Cathedral, and again in the 19th century by architect James Savage. In 1941, The building was hit during the Blitz, suffering serious damage. The roof was destroyed, and the beautiful stained glass shattered. But Temple Church was lovingly restored, and much of what you see today is a careful blend of old and new, a monument to survival as much as history. Another hidden gem, the music. Temple Church has a world-renowned choir, with a tradition stretching back to the 17th century.